Welcome back to the Past My Prime YouTube channel. Dustin Prime here, and today we're going to take a look at one of our favorite subjects, but also one of the saddest subjects, the crippling debt in America. And sometimes this is just like hate watching or, a train wreck that you can't look away from. And that always seems to be part of the fun, but we do learn a lot from these videos. Like how people get in these serious debt problems, some steps we can take to get out of them, what sort of changes you might need to make to fix your situation. But also, honestly, you're not alone. It seems like every year, every month, every week, this problem is just getting worse, and worse. So to get started, if your debt's really bad, what's one of the options you have? Well, this guy thinks he has it figured out.
What is this talk of moving to Zambia? And we want to live somewhere where the GDP per capita is $1,300.
So for moving to Zambia, obviously her family's over there, that's where she's from. But getting out of our American debt, the conversion is about
just running away.
American debt.
The currency conversion to her country is about 28 to 1. So what we make over here, we're rich over there.
Yeah.
Plus, you're just going to be a math teacher anyway. It's not like you're going to be going crazy.
True. But also my teaching degree from here, I can also teach over there math because their native language is
with
English.
With the average salary.
Yeah.
So yeah, this guy's big plan is to just move to another country to escape his debt. Yeah, newsflash, man, it's not that easy. Some people meme about this online, like, yeah, I'll just, move to a foreign country and I'll be done. All my debt will be wiped off. It's kind of like another form of bankruptcy. But that's not true. While your creditors might not be able to get to you as easily, you can still have those debts on your record and they can still, garnish your wages. If you have any sort of retirement, they can go after that. I mean, you can run into lawsuits from those creditors and they can still go after you depending upon which country you're in. And he was thinking, oh, well, my wife's a citizen, so I'll just kind of, if I'll get a job, maybe I can become a citizen too. Yeah, it's not that easy because that can affect your immigration as well. So if you do have debts, you might not get that quick, immediate immigration like you think you're going to. So really stupid idea. While a lot of people like to think of the idea of, moving to a foreign country when they retire or something like that, this guy just thinks, I'm just gonna take off. I'll just head there, drop the debt, it's over. Yeah, not the case. And what's another one that we've covered before that a lot of people wish they could probably run away from? Student loans and the insane debt that comes with that.
Everyone's always like, Brenda, why are you working so hard? Why are you doing a full-time job and posting on TikTok all the dang time? It's because I have $78,327 in student loans. And you want to know how much unpaid interest I accrued in the month of February? $523.93. And this is me paying at least a minimum of $2,000 per month. Started with a little bit over $150-something thousand because I had the bright idea of going to grad school so that I can graduate in a healthcare job to help people but not get paid enough for the amount of student loans I had to take out. Now, my fault, I went to a private university, but still, it shouldn't be this hard to pay off student loans. But based on my PT salary alone, there is absolutely no way that I could pay this much with just that salary alone and live a breathable, decent life. Make it make sense?
Dang, so $79K in student loan debt. She started at $150,000. I mean, that's some pretty good progress to have already gotten that far caught up. But also she said she was only making, payments of around $2,000 and she was still getting hit with that huge interest payment of over $500 a month. And yeah, I mean, it's altruistic to say, I did this so I could go help people, but were you not thinking about the situation that you were really putting yourself into? I mean, did you not understand the terms of the loan that you were taking out? That crazy bad interest rate and just that insanely high cost? I mean, it's great to have that mindset, but it's look what you're doing to yourself now. I mean, you're gonna be stuck with this for so long. And like she said, even once she's making her salary, she's not gonna be in a comfortable position to be able to just live and, be done with school, be in her career, kind of be happy with that, because that debt is just like a freaking weight that's just pulling her down. And that's one of the big things. I just don't understand how a lot of people got themselves into this trap with the student loans. I mean, were they completely bamboozled or did they know? This guy thinks that everybody knew.
Can someone explain to me why almost everyone with a lot of student debt acts like someone forced them with a gun to their head to sign the dotted line and take that loan? I sat in the same lectures in high school that all you people did. All the ones where they told us if you don't get a degree that you're not going to be successful, and if you don't get a degree, you're never going to make a lot of money. So why should you get a get out of jail free card just because you didn't do the simple math required to find out that most degrees are not worth the investment? You know what I did? I asked my parents, hey, are you willing to pay for college? And they said, no. And then I went to the state and I said, hey, can I get financial aid for college? And guess what they said? No. And my only two remaining options were either get a loan or pay for it out of pocket or don't go entirely. And then when I looked at how much interest rates are on student loans and how much I'd be missing out on by not investing that money myself, I went, no, thank you. I was able to do that cost benefit analysis on my own. So why should everyone else who decided that it wasn't a bad idea, why should they have their debt canceled or forgiven? What do people like me get who did go to college but paid for it out of pocket all by myself? I worked several jobs at the same time as going to school full time to get my degree. What do I get for being financially responsible, right? If they're going to cancel your debt, what do I get?
Yeah, I mean, he makes some good points, and that whole issue with the debt cancellation of student loans has been like back and forth for, the last couple years. Totally different subject. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. So it really does make you wonder, do people actually put some thought into the student loan debt that they're taking on, or do they just go with it because they think it's like their only option? And one of my first videos about our college degrees totally useless. I mean, there was a lot of people in there who said, I wish I wouldn't have done it. I wish I would have started a business, gone to a trade school, done something else, but not taken this student loan. And there were a lot of people who also said, hey, I felt like I was forced into this, the school system really pushed it, my parents really pushed it, and it just seemed like the only option. And unfortunately, it seems like a lot of people are stuck there now. And yeah, sometimes these terms on the student loans are just crazy, like the payoff time frame.
Just found out that my estimated student loan debt payoff is in the year 2049. 2049. 2049.
Gosh.
Do I have my fiance start planning my funeral today or tomorrow?
Yeah, payoff date, dealing with that debt for another like 25 years.
Bruh.
That's just crazy. And she mentioned having her fiance start planning her funeral. Well, she's at least engaged, because this next creator, she's locked in an ultimatum. We'll get married if you pay off your debt.
Nails are ready for a ring, and the debt is almost ready for a ring, so let's make a payment to my credit card together. My boyfriend said he would propose if we paid off all of my credit card debt this year. He is a firefighter, works a lot of overtime, pays all of our bills. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't really generate any sort of income other than TikTok, and he pays all of our bills anyway, so he's obviously making the payments on my credit card. I'm
Seems
just
like
doing what
an
I
odd
can,
compromise.
making money online to help out with it. So we're gonna make an extra payment today. My Kiwi Pop app, as always, keeps all of my credit cards in one place. Easy to look at, easy to see them all, the balances, can make payments directly through here. It's fantastic. This card is sitting at $436.36, something like that. I want to get this down to an even $400, so today I'm going to make a $36 and whatever the cents is, I don't remember. So this is my payment. I got paid from drill. I'm in the military. I'm in the National Guard, so I only go to drill once a month. So it's not a whole lot of money, okay? It's obviously a source of income, but it's not a whole lot of money. All right, that brings the total down to $400 even. It'll take a couple days to populate, but this card is almost paid off. As always, go make a payment to your credit card, download the Kiwi Pop app so you can have them all in one place, and love you, bye.
So yeah, it seems like a strange ultimatum to me, we're only going to get married if you pay off your debt, but I guess that's something that they've agreed upon that'll probably help her out and him out as well, the husband, and at least they kind of know about their debts and they're getting them taken care of before they take that final step, like into marriage. But she did mention that he's kind of the one generating all the income anyways, being a firefighter and working tons and tons of overtime. I mean, that can bring in a substantial income, but if all the money is like kind of what he was making anyways, it seems like maybe the issue there was that they got into that debt in the first place to begin with. She might have been spending like crazy and just kind of like running up his credit cards and things like that. So that's rough, and I've seen that creator before, and I remember in one of her videos she was talking about getting $9,000 back during tax season, and that was such like a big boost. And it's like, yeah, a $9,000 refund would be great, but you should just set up your taxes right so you can take that $9,000 throughout the year and pay down your debts or invest it. Do something with it where it's not just sitting in the hands of the government and, they're just getting an interest-free loan from you. But hey, she's making payments. Hopefully, she's making at least above the minimum payment, so she's getting through, at least a barrier point. Hopefully she's paying off the statement balance in some sense, got it down to $400. Yeah, we'll see. But hey, she knows what her debt is at least, so that's a start. What if you thought you knew that you were making some progress, and then you found out the true number of the debt you were in?
I have made a mistake, and I am so embarrassed about it. So I shared to the world about a month ago that I have a lot of debt, a lot of credit card debt. And it was around $55,000 with a credit card debt, really $57,000. And I was doing a payoff video just now because I have a really big payoff that I was super excited about. And I was working on my spreadsheet of what I was paying off, and my numbers weren't moving. They weren't moving. I was like, what the heck is happening? Like, why isn't my debt amount going down? Come to find out, my formula on my spreadsheet was wrong. It was wrong. I didn't start off with $57,000 worth of credit card debt. I started off with $77,000 worth of credit card debt. The exact amount is actually $77,663 worth of credit card debt as of February 1st. I thought I had $20,000 less than that.
Damn, that is seriously brutal. You know, thinking you were making some progress, that you were at one number, and then go to find out just because the spreadsheet you were using to track it all, there was some sort of error in there. No, you're actually $20,000 more than you thought. And what's even worse about that is because of that error, you know, seeing that smaller number that she probably thought she was getting, there was probably interest that was affected on, you know, whether it be credit cards or student loans. She didn't say exactly what that debt was. And so that's all going to be way higher than she would have thought too. And it did make me wonder, you know, was she not going in and looking at the debts for like whatever sort of spot they're at that she can go see, whether it's a credit card, you know, some sort of student loan application, or was she only looking at it in this spreadsheet? So I don't know. I guess that's a piece of advice too. Be careful. Go log in, make sure this stuff is accurate. You know, it's great to use apps and spreadsheets and things like that to track it, but hey, it doesn't matter what it says on your spreadsheet. It matters what it's saying in that payoff statement. So maybe check that from time to time and, you know, recalculate and make sure your calculations are correct. So yeah, it just seems like everybody is in these debt situations right now. Or at least it's just talked about a lot online.
How do y'all have no debt? I need to know. There are days like today where I just want to go on a rant about debt. I have $40,000 worth of debt, and that does not include my student loans or my mortgage, because those are things that they get paid when, well, the mortgage gets paid all the time, obviously. Student loans, whenever they come back on, okay, whatever, I'll have to pay them. But I am talking about daily living expenses debt. How do you not have debt? Maybe you guys do and you're just not telling everybody, and that's perfectly fine. Do whatever is best for you. I don't normally tell people, but I've been sharing my recipes, and I'm doing a series on share my recipes to help pay down my debt, because how else am I going to do it? It's going to be a continuous cycle. Like, I'm not spending money on like getting my nails done, going buy new clothes, new shoes, new bags. No, I'm getting diapers. I'm getting wipes. I'm getting formula. I'm getting groceries, things that are a necessity for us to quite literally stay alive. I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks this or goes on rants about debt, but something's got to give. The economy's got to change. I can do some things on my part as far as maybe I can make more money. Hello, TikTok. That would be you. So, yeah. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, $40,000 of just, you know, daily debt. And that does seem like a lot, you know. She said this isn't including mortgage. This isn't including student loans. This is just, you know, daily spending, you know, maybe budgeted out for the week, the month, and she's not getting her nails done, she's not getting clothes. It looked like she was making her own coffee. She said she set up a recipe series on TikTok to try to bring in some more income. So yeah, it seems like she's trying to do everything right, but she still just has this mountain of debt to get through. And so she's asking, you know, how? Just like, how did this happen? And hey, does everybody else have debt? Maybe you're just not saying it. And I personally don't have any debt right now. I had my AC die last year, and so I've been paying that off on a 0% interest, home repair credit card. And I was able to qualify for that, like when the guy was out selling me the AC. So I got lucky on that. I hope, you know, people in this sort of situation would take advantage of that if they could. But it's like, yeah, that debt will be paid off this month. I won't have to worry about that anymore. And then it's just my reoccurring credit card bill that I pretty much just use for everything and then pay the statement off to get the points. And she's asking, you know, how? And I think the answer is just because of inflation. It's been so crazy these last couple years, and people's wages have not kept up with it. And if you go back and you look at all the news that came out about the numbers that were being purported for, you know, like job growth, inflation, CPI, all of that stuff, they were widely skewed for the last couple years. And everybody knew inflation was way, way, way higher than what was being reported by the government. So I hope her recipe series on TikToks really helps out. You know, maybe she can make money on there and pay off some of that debt. But wait, I wanted to cover a comment from the last video. We were talking about lazy girl jobs, and I asked, hey, did you have a lazy guy job? Well, this comment from Trevor Sebastian kind of seems like he had a lazy guy job, and he liked it. So Trevor said, I remember working from home, and I had a job for 1 year working for a call center for a pharmacy from home. It was super busy, all day, every day, with 10 hours of mandatory overtime too, nonstop back-to-back calls from impatient nurses and doctors needing prior authorizations. But then it changed 1 month in March when my duties were to just do faxes. That's all I had to do was faxes all day, no calls. It was so chill. And I always remember that one month where all I did was those faxes, and it was so nice, and I wish I could go back and do that for the rest of my life. But alas, all good things must come to an end. Yeah, it seems like those work from home jobs are either hit or miss. Sometimes, you're super busy, you're gonna have a lot to do, or they are just ridiculously laid back and super chill. But Trevor also mentioned, having to do like faxes for a month, nothing but faxes. So I was wondering, did he get a fax machine like sent to him from the company and it's like, all right, you're the fax guy? Or maybe did they figure out that he had a fax machine at home and so they're like, we can have him just do all the faxes. I don't know, but either way, it sounds like a sweet gig. And yeah, that would have been pretty chill for a while, but I don't think I could have done it for the rest of my life. But thanks Trevor Sebastian for the comment, really appreciated it. And if you're enjoying this content, hit that free like button, it really helps out the channel. Subscribe so you can see more of these types of videos, and then drop me a comment. Are you dealing with any debt right now, and do you have a solution to get out of it? Or is there anything else you want to say? Let me know. Now, back to the video. And so a lot of people are wondering too, how did we get into this situation where it seems like debt is so normal? A lot of people just seem like it's part of life. Like no matter what, you're just gonna have debt. Yeah, seriously, what happened?
So I think I know now why everyone is struggling with their money, and it has nothing to do with not being taught. The art of saving up for something is gone. What happened to the days of like, hey, I want to go on this trip, let me save up for it. Hey, I want to go to this concert or this event, let me save up for it. Earning something. That no longer exists. Now you can just finance anything. Affirm, Klarna. For God's sakes, DoorDash has Klarna now. You can't afford your food? Put it on Klarna. It's just the accessibility of being able to get into debt, the option to cop out. Like, we have no discipline anymore. Everything is a finance now. Everything. Credit card debt, Affirm, Klarna. You see it everywhere. You go shop for clothes, Affirm. It just, for me, the way that I think about it is literally putting power to the idea of, hey, people cannot afford this, but we're still gonna let them buy it. Yep. And I feel like we should be slapping people on the wrist, like, hey, you cannot afford this. You should not be able to buy it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tripping.
Totally agree with that, creator. It has become way too normalized. And it's this whole sense of like immediate gratification. The culture for saving is like gone for the most part. There's still a lot of people who do really well, but I think, with the younger generations, it's like just, you gotta have it now. Hey, YOLO, so just go for it, okay? And like he said, we see this with these buy now, pay later type services. As we've talked about, you can use these services for things like plane tickets. You can get the money up front to be able to go out and, get the Chipotle you can't afford. Hey dude, we're doing spring break, are you saved up for it? No. Well, hey, just get those tickets on Klarna and then meet us out there. It's that type of mindset, and it's so easy to just be like, well, you don't have the money, you can just get it. You go into debt for it, it's done. Worry about it another day. And hey, maybe things like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, places like this are the problem, where so many people are posting the debt they're in, and it just makes it seem like, yeah, I'm in debt too. Oh well, I'm in good company. We really got to get back to that like savings mindset, being able to save up the money so we don't have to use credit. And then there will be the gurus that tell you, oh, the power of debt, debt is your friend. You should be able to use it to take advantage and purchase things like assets and everything like that. Use it for life-changing investments that are really going to help you out. And while that's true, that's just not what's happening with like the standard, average, run-of-the-mill, normal person just trying to live in the day-to-day costs of everything. If you can't afford it, don't buy it, and just start saving up for the things you really want. Yeah, normalization of debt is a problem.
I am slowly digging myself out of debt, and these are things that I normalized in my debt journey, or like my spending over consumption journey, that I realize now is not okay. First off, was hiding my debt from everybody. I did not tell anyone about my debt. Really, the only person that knew I had debt was like kind of my boyfriend. He didn't know the total. He didn't know how many cards I had. My parents didn't know. My friends didn't know. This kind of kept it easy for me to continue being in debt and continue the spending on the debt, because I was like, nobody knows, it's fine. But like, no, you should really tell the people around you so that they can hold you accountable and help you get out of debt, because the shit's embarrassing, but like, we need to do better for ourselves. Okay, the second thing I did was I would pay off cards and then immediately max them out again, because I would see the zero balance and be like, oh, now I have the freedom, I have the room to spend this much more money now, and that was not okay. Do not do that. Do not be mean, do not do that. I would have this like hoarding mentality of, okay, I got paid, and I don't want to make a big payment on my credit card, because what if I need, like, I had a scarcity mindset around money. Like, what if I need the money in my checking account more? When in reality, I should have just been paying my extra money to my credit card, because then my balance would go nowhere, and I would still spend all the money in my checking account because I'm an idiot. So here we are getting completely out of credit card debt. Go make a payment to your credit card.
So back to that creator again, and yeah, like she said, the debt was just normalized. It was just part of her life, just living in debt. She'd pay her credit cards down, see the zero balance, and just think, oh, look, I can just rack it up again. and then she'd be right back in that same spot. And she said she was hiding the debt from everybody. Only her boyfriend knew about it. And remember, she's trying to get engaged, so she's got to get that debt paid down, which is, I guess, a good thing. Like this lady's situation is thrown up on screen here. You know, she's saying she's paying off this massive, like $50,000 of debt that her husband didn't know about. Every little small bit helps. I mean, that's just crazy. So yeah, at least she was open with her boyfriend, you know, kind of letting some of that slip that, hey, this is the debt I'm in, and yeah, maybe I do need some help. So maybe that's what she needed, you know, she really needed to be open about it, talk about it. And maybe that is why a lot of people post this stuff on TikTok. Kind of keeps them in check. And you know, if your friends and family are following you, well, they're gonna see it. But on that exact same side, we started to see a lot of this new trend starting to pop up on TikTok. You know, the debt and stuff like that was really popular. There was also a lot of people who were posting videos pretty much just asking for help. Some people considered it begging.
Today I'm trying something new. This is my last ditch effort. I am drowning in student debt. I have over $75,000 in student debt, and I'm not even done with school. Please stay to the end of this video because it would help me tremendously. So here's what I'm doing. I saw this girl who paid off all of her student loans, all of her debt, all from filming TikTok videos. How crazy is that? I decided, why not give it a try? So all I need to do is post at least 1 minute long videos. Those qualify for like a paycheck. This is episode 1 of trying to pay off my student loans. It would help a lot if you liked, comment, or shared this video. I would boost this video out to different FYPs. I'm hoping I can start paying off my student loans soon.
Yeah, like she said, she's trying to get this video boosted so it can get tons of views, get tons of engagement, tons of likes. You know, gotta keep it over the minute so it can hit the qualifications to get paid on TikTok. And like she said, she's seen other girls doing it. A lot of people doing that. Pretty much going out there saying, hey, I'm in this debt problem. Watch this video to the end, please. So it's almost just this like feedback loop of, hey, you watch my video, I'm gonna watch your video. Everybody just watch each other's videos on TikTok so we can get some sort of extra money out of this monetization program that the app has. And once again, she's just in crazy student loan debt. And she said it was her last ditch effort. I mean, I can't blame her. But yeah, that video blew up, and so a lot of people were doing the same sort of thing. And I mean, you can call it begging, but nowadays I'd say people just need help. And so I really can't fault people for trying. This next one's brutal.
I'm in $135,092.74 in debt. We are going to together hold each other accountable, and I'm going to get this paid off by the summer. So for personal debt, I have $62,474.62. Is credit cards, 2 loans, my car that I just bought, and then my debt to the IRS. My new coffee shop that hasn't opened yet is in $28,290.39 in debt. That's really not that bad considering that was us building it from the ground up. The last debt is Surfside Sips. Total for Surfside Sips is $43,720.31. So I am convinced I can get this majority. I'm not gonna say all $135,000 paid off. Who knows? Maybe. Main goal right now is to get Floor and Ivy open next week, get Surfside Sips debt free, and then pay off all of my credit cards at the very least. I was debt free last year, right? I was in a car accident. I went through a divorce. I moved into a house that's much more expensive because that's the market we're in right now. I went on quite a few trips. Oh, and also I don't make money from Surfside Sips or Floor and Ivy yet because I want to prioritize paying off the debt before I start taking owner's drop.
Dang, so over $100,000 in debt. And she said she wasn't in debt last year. So how did she get all that? Well, she said it was like $60,000 of like just personal spending, which is pretty crazy. But then also all that other debt was from businesses that she was starting. She mentioned 2 of them, and they weren't open yet. So that's all just, you know, the debt just to get things going. But they're opening soon, so hopefully that will help her out. But then she also said, you know, she had some debt from a car accident. She got divorced. She had to move into a more expensive house, which, yeah, I mean, you know, if you don't time it right and you move at a bad time, you might really end up hurting yourself in the long run. But then also said she had some personal trips that she put in there, and it's like, yeah, I mean, going on vacations or stuff like that, it's just gonna add to that debt. But what a change. I mean, being debt free and then the next year, $130,000 of debt, that's brutal. I mean, hopefully the strategy with her businesses takes off and they can actually start to, you know, recoup some of that back. So yeah, that was the highest one yet, and that is a ton of money. So it had me thinking, like, if you were to come into an inheritance, some sort of windfall of cash, and you were able to get life-changing money, how much would you need to be able to make a big difference? And then perfectly enough, I saw this video.
How much money would it take to really change your life? I mean, like, someone's going to give you a lump sum of money right now, and you can do whatever you need with it, and it is enough to change your life. Are we talking like 10, 20, 50, 100,000? Like, what would it be? I feel like for me, it would be like 50,000 would really, really change my life. I could pay off my car. I could pay off the rest of my credit card debt. I could pay off my private student loans. And then I could just like exist without that expense and be completely fine. But I want to know, what does it look like for you? How much would you need in order to really make a big change in your life?
Yeah, so how much would you need? You know, 20,000 be enough? 40,000, 50,000, 100,000? If we're just like talking hypothetically and stuff, you know, this isn't money you're just gonna get and immediately spend. Like, this is something that you're gonna use to change your life for the better. You know, he thinks like $50,000 could get him out of all those debts he's in, student loan, personal debt, things like that, and then just be able to, like he said, exist. Yeah, I mean, I think 50,000 is a modest number, but as we've seen for some of these creators we already covered, I mean, that would put a dent in their debt, but they would still have so much more to do. So I don't know, I'm in a lucky position to where I wouldn't necessarily need that money to pay off a debt or something like that. So I think if I was to get some sort of life-changing money, I would just put it into some sort of smart investment. But what about you? What would your number be? Leave it in the comments if you have a number that would really change your life. But that does it for this one. If you enjoyed the content we covered today, hit that free like button and subscribe so we can hang out again. And if you leave a comment, I might feature it in one of my next videos. Plus, it really helps small channels, so I'd totally appreciate it. And YouTube thinks you'll like this video right here, so give it a watch if you have a second. Until then, I've been Dustin Prime, you've been you, and people, don't let this normalization of debt get you into a pit of trouble. Save what you can, stick to a budget, and if you can't afford it, don't buy it. See you next time. Later.